Hi, AT from CNC at Home. I wanted to take some time and work with that etching powder for metal that I got, and haven't really had much luck with it. I tried using it on aluminum, and I was told by the manufacturer that aluminum is really hard to do just because of its heat distribution properties. I found a piece of cold rolled steel, 16 gauge, and cleaned off a spot, and I wanted to see how that works. I also have a chunk of steel that I use as a weight to hold things down in the laser, and I wanted to try etching on that. Nothing really fancy. The little piece of metal that I use for a weight isn't large enough really to do a test. I'm basically just going to put the word weight on it and see if we can get that to stick. Then use the piece of cold rolled steel and do a proper material test on that and see how that comes out. Remember to give this video a thumbs up. Let's go to the laser and see how that turns out. Some of you may recognize this little piece of metal. I use it to hold things down while I'm doing lasering. It's a nice little chunk of metal, and I wanted to try engraving on it, so I'm going to use the magic powder. We'll get that all shaken up here. And the reason I want to use this piece of metal is it's not aluminum. It is some sort of steel. I don't know what kind it is. So its thermal properties should be a little better for this process. All we need to do is just put a nice thin coat, get this consistent on there. My hands, there we go. We'll get a nice layer on there. We'll let that dry, and we'll pop it into the laser and see how well that works. I wish I had more room. I would do a material test, but I really don't have much room on this particular piece of material. With the piece of metal in the laser, I'll need to get it focused and squared up, and I'm going to print something simple on here. Just some block letters, probably the word weight, because that's how I use this as a mask to hold things down. So that's what I'll get done here, is get this thing focused, and we'll start our burn. We'll do a quick frame on this and make sure that it's in a good area. I really don't know what to use for burning parameters, so I'm going to use 120 millimeters per minute and 80% power. That's based off of a test I did on some aluminum that seemed to work pretty well. I'm hoping that it'll work here. It'll take a while to burn, but should look good. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Get the exhaust fan turned on. Get all this stuff sucked outside. Alright, and we'll start the burn. With the burn complete, the next step is to take this to the sink and wash this stuff off. My hope is that where we lasered it has stuck to the metal. Not real confident, but we'll give it a try. Let's go over to the sink. I was doing this as lightly as I could, and already I can see that it's coming off. So that did not stick very well at all. So let's go ahead and get this cleaned off completely. So what we'll do is we'll put another coat of magic powder on there and try it at even a slower setting, and I'm just going to go 100% power on that. Let's get this framed up. Take a look here. Looks like it's in the right spot. Let's go ahead and start the burn. Well, another successful burn. The next test will be to take it over to the sink and rinse it. I do not have high hopes. It would be awesome if this worked. I can go a little bit slower. I can't provide any more power, but I could go a little bit slower At that speed, however, I don't think this is even worth using. Let's get this over to the sink and rinse it off. Water going. And right away, it's just not even scrubbing this at all. The black washed off. Now, a little bit of it, well, it didn't really stay behind, but it maybe cleaned it a little bit or something. You can see the whole word. But the black definitely came off, and I didn't even scrub it. I don't know if we need to go faster. I don't know. But this stuff just really doesn't seem to work well with my diode laser. Let's finish scrubbing this off and see what it looks like. Not a single thing left, and that was just lightly washing with my finger. End result, my laser just isn't hot enough to burn this. It's a 5.5 watt LED laser, or diode laser. I thought it would be good to give this another try. I've coated the piece of metal again, and this time I'm going really slowly. I have the settings at 50 millimeters per minute at 100% power. Let's do a quick frame, and let's get this burning. I really don't have high hopes for it. You never know. Now that the burn is complete, it's time to go wash off the stuff and see if the engraving stays or not. Okay, this was the 50 millimeters per minute at 100% power. It looks great, but once we wash it off, my guess is none of this will be left. So we'll see. I mean, we could wipe it away, but anyway. There we go. Yep, it's just washing right off with just the force of the water, taking that black off. Just wipe my finger across it once. Completely clean. Uh-oh. Yeah, that etching just doesn't work on this at all. Time for another experiment. I was digging through some of my son's scrap metal and found this nice sheet of cold roll 16 gauge steel. It was a little bit rusty, but I took a spot and sanded it up, cleaned it, and then put some of our magic powder liquidy stuff on here. And I'm going to run a material test just to see how well this does. Let's get this started. Make sure that first of all that we're in our area. We'll do a quick frame. For the most part we are. So let's go ahead and start the burn. This doesn't look too promising. I just blew on it and most of that stuff just came right off. So I'll get this rinsed off and we'll put it back in the laser. I'll paint it up again. I didn't have the laser refocused for this material, so we can do a little bit better of a job. Just not real encouraged by these particular results. Let's get it rinsed. So let's try that again. This time we'll focus the laser. I gave this one more try. Turns out I had forgotten to refocus the laser for the thinner material. Don't know if that's going to make a difference or not. I'm looking at this. It didn't flake off like the last one. I'm going to blow on it, see what happens. Okay, it didn't blow off. And that's what happened on the last time. So let's get it under the water, see if any of this stuff stays on here with the laser being focused burn.
So far so good. It's flaking off a little bit, which is kind of my fear. I don't want to... yeah. We can get our powder off easily enough, but if I go on to where it's turned black, I'm afraid it's going to wash away. Alright, well here goes. Very light with my finger. Very light. Ooh, hey, a little bit of it staying. That's something. Now let's take a look at that. Now this was very, very lightly. So it's on there, but barely. I scrubbed real lightly, and you can see some of the stuff here where it's flaked away, so it didn't adhere really well. I'm going to put it under the water again and scrub just a little harder, again with my finger only. And we'll see how that does. Now some of this is starting to come off. Interesting. That top row is 500 millimeters per minute. The bottom row is 60. The 55% power over on this side, 100% power over here. So it kind of worked-ish. So that's a positive, at least. That's a step forward from what we had happen with the aluminum. So maybe this is something that we can use if I focus the laser. If you like our video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the content of our channel, please think about subscribing. It really helps us out. And enjoy doing your CNC at home projects.